one of the most underlooked and underappreciated aspects of photography is actually one of the most important things we have to focus on every time we go out, and that is lighting. Lighting can make or break your image. We've all been to a location where it's just flat lighting, nothing special, and it looks like we took the picture on an iPhone. But once we get to that location over and over again and we catch it at its perfect moment, whether that be sunrise or sunset with that beautiful lighting in the golden hour, sun shining through the clouds, that is what makes that photo so special, and that's what makes it stand out from other photographers. So today I'm going to just walk through some of my images that I use lighting and also created lighting for. So starting off on this screen, you can see this is what the raw file looked like, and just a couple minutes before we got something special, and it's just very flat and not a lot of color and light to it. But then if we just waited about 20 minutes, we got more of this sun shining through the clouds, getting on this mountain back here and touching the tips of our foreground. We also got those streaks and long shadows on the middle part of this green grass, and this light right here creating all this contrast is what made this photo. Going back, this is nothing special. We were starting to get light slowly coming in here, but after the edit and after we waited some more, we really got that soft glowy look from the light onto the mountains, but also these nice highlights everywhere else. This ended up being one of my favorite photos from my trip to Hoth recently, and honestly was not expecting this great of light. I actually stumbled upon it and got lucky. But when you do have the chance to go to places multiple times, and some places like this you just don't get the opportunity, and then you just have to get lucky like I did. But when you do have the opportunity, visit places multiple times and plan on when you go, what season it is that changes the light, what time of the day will change the light, and you can get very, very different photos from the time of day and time of season you go through. And we've all been there at noon and it just does not look good, and yet it could be the most beautiful scene just 2 hours later. And that's why patience is also important. More from this Hoth trip. This was the image that I was able to capture raw and Hoth. This was a couple minutes after the sun had peeked through in the other one. I would say probably 45 minutes later came in this. And of course, as the sun is changing, the clouds are moving, we don't get that beautiful light as we continue walking down the path. So this was really the only image I can get, and yet it ended up looking like this. And now if you compare them side by side, the two very, very different looking images, and it is again because of the light, except this time I artificially recreated the light. I can go into a more in-depth breakdown of how you can dodge and burn to make it look exactly like this, but I'll just walk you through a quick overview of how I did it for this photo, and we can go in more depth later. But this is what just a couple basic contrasts, highlight and color corrections to get it looking like this without any mask, and then we recreate that artificial lighting with those masks. So I turned all those masks off. Now we're just gonna go step by step of what changed. So the first mask here, we actually darkened the image more. It's because right now, as you can see, the bottom part, especially this thing here, is our main attention focus, the brightest part besides the sky right now. And in fact, we would want it to be this just beauty of a cliff that we're looking at, in the sea to be a center of attention, not this. This is more of a foreground element to draw the viewer in. So if we turn that one on and that one on to just give a little bit darker frame, and then our next mask is actually lighting up this center. So just as you can see, just with the one mask here, we brighten the whole image and change the actual subject. It is most common that your eyes get brought to the center of the image, but if not the center of the image, the brightest part of the image. That's why we need to make sure that a light is directed on to a subject most cases. And this, we just brought up that exposure and details to bring focus onto a subject. And next, I thought that this part down here was a little too dark, a little too unnatural. So that's an important reminder that when you are working with light, that we still want to make it look like it's natural. That's the whole part about photography. We capture on scene instead of through the AI lenses, because we like that natural look. And that's why a lot of people are starting to go back to film cameras now. It's because of the tradition, and because you get that unique natural look that the smooth skins of AI can't replicate. So now moving on to the next couple of masks. These are just a couple of quick dodge and burn. So again, just outlining this whole thing to frame it in, and then bringing some more detail on this rock formation, the cliff down below. And next thing was just to bring a little bit more color into the sky, because that's an important part of the image. And then the final two were just little corrections here to bring details onto what I thought were unique features of this cliff. So little rock jumbled down here, and then up around here and down here. And as you can see from the before and after, it's a very, very different photo. And that's how you can work with light. And I can go into more details, like I said before, about how to actually dodge and burn, and why dodge and burn is so actually effective and useful for your image. And then another example, when on the Hoth trip, is just taking advantage of this light. Without this light, this would be a pretty boring shot of nothing, to be frank. But now with this warm orange light in the top right corner, I get to use that to play with the blue teal look against the orange look. And it's just those little things that light can do to images. They can make an image look completely different, like the second one we went through, but they can also provide new photo opportunities like this one currently on your screen. That's why I think everyone should pay more attention and focus more on lighting when they go out and plan their trips around lighting, because that is when you get the best photos.